Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Codeman Movies. It has been a couple weeks. I did go on vacation on Maine this last week, and I did try putting a video up that week before. My stupid phone was not working, things were going wrong, I was exhausted, and that's why it's been a couple weeks, but we are getting back to it today. So this video will be up sometime today. It'll be Tuesday, the 20th, but when it comes up. And then I'm going to hopefully have another part out sometime this week. So you get 2 videos this week to make up for the 2 weeks that I was gone. And I didn't even tell you that I was going on vacation and all that crap. And yeah, now this is lopsided because I need to upgrade my equipment. But yeah, as of now, this is what we're getting because this is just what I got. But yeah, so guys, I went to vacation. I went to Maine. It was all right. It was a decent time. Went hiking, went whitewater rafting. So I had some fun. But yeah, I had to miss. But we still have a whole bunch of movies to talk about. Movies going all the way back to like Labor Day weekend that I have to talk about. So let's just get to it, guys. Let's talk about movies. Before that, though, make sure you get yourself a nice beverage. Doesn't have to be alcoholic. Can't be alcoholic if this one is alcoholic. But hey, do you. This one is I took apple pie shots. Homemade apple pie shots. And I mixed it with apple cider with fresh apples on top. And it's pretty good. It looks so lopsided to me. It doesn't really matter how I look, right? It just matters that we're talking about movies and that you can hear me talking about movies. So, you know, I guess if I'm a little lopsided, it's not the worst, but it's annoying me. I mean, that looks all right. We're not going to spend 20 minutes playing with this, are we? I'll play with it a couple times, but here we go. Anyways, guys, let's just start talking about movies. I miss talking about movies, so let's talk about movies. Starting with Elvis, guys. I had seen this movie, I think it was like 4th of July weekend. And I was in the front row for this movie, looking up and having to go like this to actually see everything that was going on the screen. And it was quite annoying. And it was one of those movie-going experiences where I think the experience of the movie made me like the movie less. I remember the first time seeing Elvis, and I still really enjoyed the movie. I think this is a beautifully made movie. I think there's a lot of care and effort put into this movie, and I think it is a really good movie. There are just some big issues that I have with this movie, and unfortunately it starts with Tom Hanks. Tom Hanks' character, Colonel Parker or something like that, he's in it way too much. He is the first person you really see on screen. He's narrating the whole movie. It feels like this movie was written with this idea that we're going to make an Elvis movie, and then they found out that they can get Tom Hanks to play Colonel Parker, and they had to make the movie longer and bigger and include Tom Hanks' character. He feels so forced into the movie at times. I understand he's a very important part of why Elvis was Elvis, but at the same time, he feels so forced in because he's Tom Hanks. And that's just something that, this is really bugging me too. I think this might help. There we go. Okay, let's see if that helps. You guys, can you still see me? Can you all see me? Can you all hear me? What am I quoting? You guys tell me. Oh, that looks a lot better. Okay, anyways, guys, so it just feels like Tom Hanks was brought into this and they had to go more Tom Hanks because he's Tom frickin' Hanks. And I don't like that aspect of Elvis. I think Tom Hanks does a great performance. His fat suit is very noticeable. His accent is a little weird, and I didn't love that accent. But I thought he was fine. It's not about his character, but it just feels like it's more about him. And I don't like that. The movie's called Elvis, not Colonel Parker. So that was my biggest negative of the movie, especially seeing it the second time. But there's just kind of little nitpicky things about this movie. This movie feels like a fantasy at times, which I don't necessarily mind. Rocket Man was a movie that was a fantasy, really. There's things that happen in that movie just don't happen. But at the same time, that movie was meant to be like this fantasy musical. That's how they announced this movie. They were like, this is a fantasy musical using Elton John's music. And that's kind of what they were striving for. This movie feels like it was trying to do 2 things at once. Trying to make this fantasy movie and then also trying to make the Elvis biopic, but a serious biopic. And it doesn't know, the tonal switches for me sometimes bug me in a movie. And that also goes with the rap music. Baz Luhrmann likes to put hip-hop and rap music into his movies, and I hate that in his movies. The Great Gatsby was where it was really bad, and I did not like The Great Gatsby, partially because of that. Lots of other reasons I didn't like The Great Gatsby, but this movie only does it like in one scene, which is even weirder almost, because it's just this one scene where we, for some reason, have some rap music, and it makes no sense. That's a little thing that's bugged me. Other than that, there's not necessarily really anything else that bugs me about this movie. The editing at times is a little too fast-paced. I think there's times where it works great because we're telling so much and we're showing just how crazy this life was of Elvis. And there's other times where it's just nauseating. It's a little too much at times. But again, it's more of a nitpick for me because there are times also where you see this editing and it's fantastic. It is going so fast-paced and showing you this life of Elvis in 3 hours' time. It's absolutely incredible when it comes to the editing at certain points in the movie. Austin Butler is absolutely freaking fantastic. You watch this movie and you forget that's Austin Butler. You just see Elvis, and that's absolutely fantastic. I think this is Oscar worthy. I really do. I think Austin Butler did such an incredible performance in this movie, and I don't think it's going to be noticed during Oscar season, but you never know. You never know. I really do think his performance was absolutely fantastic. I love how they also show like the tragedy of Elvis. They don't shy away from things. They don't shy away from the fact that he was kind of being drugged, and his father did give permission to do this, and Colonel Parker was just like, whatever we can do to get him on stage because I need to make money. I love that they were honest with a lot of things in this movie, and when we see people on TV and stuff, we see them as larger-than-life characters, and we forget they're human beings. I have so much dirt in my hair or something. How did I get dirt in my hair? I don't know. I'll take a shower after this, I guess. Jeez. I guess I did work out outside in the sand. Anyways, guys, I'm getting off topic because I'm talking about my fucking hair. Sorry, I swore. That's bad. Anyways, guys, I love the tragedy. I love how it showed how much it killed Elvis when his mother died. And we see these people, like I was saying before, they're larger-than-life people. And we just think that they're, gods. And what this movie kind of shows is they're not. They're not gods. These are people. People. And, that's just the crazy thing about this is they're people. And this movie really shows that, people, that these famous people are people. And we need to understand that and not treat them as gods because they're not. And they have feelings and they feel things and they want things and they're just like us at the end of the day. And I love how it did that. The movie is also very frantic. 3 hours. It's a 3 hour long movie and it does not feel like 3 hours. 3 hours feels like more like 2 hours. And I have to say this movie got better the second time around. I think it was also because, I was in a better theater. I was sitting in a better spot watching this movie this time around, and I think that really helped. So, if you're going to go see, this is now on HBO Max. I recommend seeing this in the theater, though. Do not watch it on HBO Max. I did not watch it on HBO Max my second time around. I think I watched this movie like 3 days before it came on HBO Max. Go see it in the theater if you still can. It's a wonderful movie. It really is a fantastic movie. I think I'm still giving it... I think the last time I gave it a 7 out of 10. I think I'll raise it up a little bit. I'm going to say this is an 8 out of 10 movie. It is a very good movie. There are certain little things that bug me about it, and then one big major thing, just Tom Hanks' character being in it way too much and taking away from the Elvis story that should really be what's important here because the movie's called Elvis. So, yeah. That is Elvis, again, for a second time, but, sometimes you have to rewatch movies and, yeah. I'm a firm believer. Some people say that it should only take one time for you to really enjoy a movie. I think sometimes you need to see a movie 2 times, 3 times. It depends what's going on. Maybe you're having a bad day and you went to the theater and just because you were having a bad day, it ruined that. And it can be vice versa. Sometimes you go into a theater having a bad day and the movie just makes you so happy. This wasn't necessarily one of them. 3,000 Years of Longing is one. But this is actually, it's weird. Going back to that though. I talk about how you need to see a movie twice. This is a movie I would like to see another time, actually. Oh, that's not what I wanted. This is a very weird, bizarre movie from the director of Mad Max Fury Road, one of my favorite movies of all time. George Miller's the guy who did it. It's 3,000 years long. It's a very interesting movie. For those who don't know what the plot of this movie is, a woman gets this weird little bottle and finds out there's a genie in it. They call it a djinn, though, or something. I don't know. And the genie is played by Idris Elba. And then basically what this movie is two people sitting in a hotel room and the genie telling this person his life story, essentially. And that's kind of what this movie is, which, if you've watched the trailers or heck, you even look at this poster, that's not really what it's advertising. It looks like some kind of weird, rompy kind of movie. It's not. There's moments in here that are funny and strange, but the movie is not at all that. It's just a person telling another person their life story. That's kind of the entire movie, which is fine. I enjoy movies like that, but immediately, if you saw the marketing for this movie at all anyway, you're looking at this poster right now. So you are seeing marketing from this movie that is a little misleading, in my opinion, because that is not what the movie is. It should just be these two sitting in a hotel room, really, is what this movie is. Tilda and Idris are absolutely fantastic, which we should expect that of them, because they are absolutely fantastic. They always give fantastic performances. This movie is just messy, though. Especially since I said, most of this movie takes place in a hotel room. I'd say about 75% of that is just him telling his life story. And then there's the other half of this where they go back to Tilda Swinton's apartment, and then it becomes this whole different movie, really. It kind of becomes Aladdin for adults in a sense, but a little bit different. So it's kind of messy. It's two different movies in a sense, and none of them are as engaging as you would like them to be. The little stories that Idris Elba's genie tells are interesting enough. There are some funny moments, but at the same time, they all go on a little bit too long. These stories each take up, I would say, at least 20 minutes of screen time. Right there, you got your 60 minutes of an hour and 45-minute movie. And it just feels like it could have been less. Maybe 10 minutes for each. Literally cut them in half. These things just go on a little too long. Cut those moments in half, and then make, I don't know. It's kind of weird. If you that's a half hour, I guess, maybe, I don't know. This movie just needs to be a little bit shorter. And it definitely needs to cut out these little flashbacks, essentially, is what they are, because they're just not as engaging as I would like them to be. They are interesting, but they just go on a little too long, and that's something I did not like. And at the end of the day, I don't necessarily know what this movie is trying to say. It doesn't really feel like there's a message in this movie. It doesn't feel like I'm supposed to have learned anything from this movie. So why am I wasting my time watching this movie is kind of what I asked myself as I was watching this. The movie is also not paced the greatest, in my opinion. It feels a lot slower than it actually is, and it feels a lot longer than it actually is. This movie's less than 2 hours long, I believe. I think it's less than 2 hours long. I can't really necessarily remember because it felt so long. It feels like a 3-hour, 30-minute movie, which is insane. And, it's just slow. And then there's some really bad visual effects in this movie. There's a scene where Idris Elba's big. He comes out as a big genie. And you got Tilda Swinton, in the front. And you can so tell that it's on a green screen, that Tilda is in front of a green screen. And it takes you right out of the movie. And then there's other times where there's actually some really great visuals. When they go back in time into these flashbacks and you see other parts of time that this genie has lived, the visual effects actually kind of look great. And then it just goes back to some of these bad visuals. It just kind of clashes, unfortunately. Technically, this movie is fantastic. Besides some of the visuals, George Miller knows how to direct. He knows how to create a scene. He knows how to do some really great camera movements and angles. He knows what he's doing. He knows how to make a shot. Unfortunately, the writing is just not the greatest, and it just goes on a little too long. I love that this movie swings for the fences. I love George Miller in the sense that he's not afraid to do anything. He goes for it. He's not afraid to fail. I'm currently reading the book Blood, Sweat, and Chrome, the crazy and true story of Mad Max Fury Road. And it's insane, the things that George Miller did during that movie, some of the things that he chooses to do as a director. It's really insane how he does some of these things. And I love that he swings for the fences, but at the end of the day, it just didn't quite hit. It's not a home run. He made it to second base, but he didn't get third and fourth. He only got about half of it in, which sucks because I absolutely love him as a filmmaker. I love listening to him talk. In this book that I'm reading, there's a lot of interviews with him, and he seems like a very interesting person. He seems like he really knows himself, and he is not afraid to fail to do better the next time around. And I love that. I absolutely love that about him. And I want his movies to do well. I'm so excited for Furiosa. Cannot wait. But this one just wasn't quite as great as I wanted it to be. And it was kind of boring. And I hate saying that about a George Miller movie because his movies aren't boring. If anything, his movies are not boring. This is the first movie I'd say it's really boring of his. Absolutely just moments where I was ready to fall asleep. I do want to see it a second time around, though. Maybe at home. This feels more like one that I just kind of want to watch at home, unfortunately. I don't want to see it in the cinema. And that's really sad, considering this movie has bombed. I mean, it has not made any money at all, and it sucks. Really sucks. Yeah, I just wanted to do better, and it's just not what it was. I'm thinking today, guys, it's not a bad movie. It's just not great, and it's not my favorite. I'll give it like a 5 out of 10. It was enjoyable enough, but I wanted to enjoy it more, I guess is really what I would say about this movie. So yeah, that's 3,000 Years of Longing, guys. I need a drink. My voice is getting... So next up, guys, my best friend's wedding. See, it's the sucky thing about martini glass, guys. It doesn't hold enough. You just gotta have a second glass, which doesn't look as pretty. But I want to be like James Bond, you know? It's a martini kind of drink. Just a little less liquor, because I don't want to get, messed up. My best friend's wedding, guys. This is an old movie. I watched this movie because it takes place in Chicago. I just went to Chicago 2 months ago now. Saying that was such a long time ago now. And I'm going to Chicago again in November, guys. I'm very excited for that. So, Chicago movies. I had to watch Chicago movies. This is... A lot of people think this is like one of the greatest rom-coms of all time. I did not find that the case for me for this movie. For those who don't know, this movie is about a woman who's been friends with this guy her entire life. The guy tells her that, hey, she's engaged, and now she's kind of like in love with him and decides to go try to break up this wedding and have him marry her instead. So, Julia Roberts' character is immediately so dislikable in this movie for me. Right from the start, she's very unlikable. And then by the end, when she turns into a good person, I couldn't get on board. After everything she's done throughout this entire movie, I just wanted this bitch to drown. Excuse my language and excuse my violence. But wow, do I find Julia Roberts' character so unlikable in this movie. I just don't see how I can care about her. And I do not care about what she's doing because it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. The idea of ruining someone's wedding, that's just not good. There's a good way of doing this. My example maybe would be like Friends, for example. Ross and Rachel have had this on and off relationship. Rachel goes to this wedding, flies to London to go to this wedding, not to ruin it necessarily, but just to tell Ross how she feels. If she gets rejected, then she gets rejected. But she wants to let Ross know that she loves him. And that's about it. She's not going to necessarily break up the wedding. Is she kind of hoping that's the case? Yes. Because she and the rest of the friends all kind of agree that, who is he marrying at that time? Emily. They all agree Emily is not a great person for Ross. And so, because of that, it makes it a little more better. This movie, the bride is fantastic, played by Cameron Diaz. She's this nice girl. Her family's great. I mean, everything about this relationship is great. So when Julia Roberts' character is going to break up this relationship, that's a beautiful relationship, she's a terrible flippin' human being, and I hate that. So yeah, I kind of found this movie very forgettable, honestly. There's just a lot of horrible things that she does, and by the end, when she realizes she's a horrible human being, we're supposed to go, oh, it's okay, and I did not go, oh, it's okay. Terrible. Takes place in Chicago. That's a positive for me. It's really cool. Looking at the city back in time, this movie was filmed, what, in the 90s? Chicago has changed quite a bit in the 90s. It really is cool to see that and see how much a city changes. So I like that aspect of it. It's really got nothing to do with the movie, though. That's just my personal preference, of course. Technical aspects, you know, it's fine. It's not a poorly made movie. There's some decent camera angles. It's a decent script. There's some funny moments. Movie's nothing fantastic, in my opinion. The story is just very Not a whole heck of a lot necessarily happens. It's just a person doing terrible things. And there's a way to do that. You know, like Wolf of Wall Street is an example. I watched part of a Wolf of Wall Street on vacation. And it does such a great job of making Leo's character a fun and almost relatable character, even though what he's doing is not fun, and it can't relate to you. You would never relate to that. And, you know, it's just, so this is a very movie for me, very forgettable. I have no plans to watch this anytime soon. 5 out of 10, same thing as 3,000 Years of Longing. I watched a couple movies in a row here. So yeah, this is a very movie. I enjoyed Chicago parts. That's about all I got for you guys. It really is. I didn't enjoy this movie. Oh, that's delicious. I love apple cider. We're getting off on a side tangent here, but while I was on vacation, I went and visited my aunt and uncle, my great aunt and uncle in New York, and they had local apple cider from their area. And it was just absolutely delicious, so I had to buy some tonight and had to make an apple cider kind of drink because it's just so good. I love apple cider. Didn't realize how much I love apple cider. Next up, guys, we're going to talk about 2.5 Men. This is a show that I remember from my childhood in the sense that as soon as it came on TV, Mom and Dad said, get out of here right now. Because my mom and dad loved this show. And I remember the parts that I did see when I wasn't supposed to watch it, I thought were hilarious. This was also me at what? This show started in what? 2008, I think, 2009 or something like that. 12. No, that's not right. I don't know. It started in the early 2000s. So I would have been in middle school, going into high school while this show was going on. 2011 was when Charlie Sheen went out, and I was a junior in high school. So, yeah. It kind of came in the time that I was a child and was wanting to watch this more adult kind of stuff that my parents wouldn't allow me to watch. So, I will say this. There's a lot of people that don't like this show. Personally, myself, I like a good 20-minute show that is just a comedy and knows what it is. When Charlie was on the show, there's going to be 2 separate reviews of this, honestly, guys. When Charlie is on the show, it's fine. Is it anything spectacular? God, no. Are the situations that the characters are put in such ones we've seen in other shows? Absolutely. Is this the greatest show in the world? No, but it's fine. There are definitely moments while watching this show that I laughed out loud and was laughing quite a bit and had to rewind to miss some of the things I missed. And then there was also times where I completely blurred and was like, this is the exact same thing as last week's episode. Or the episode before, I should say. This is also a show that has some very unlikable characters. Charlie is just a butthead that, by the time he gets to the end, by season, he left at season 8. By the time he gets to season 8, you like him a little bit more. He slowly starts to grow on you. Alan's just a freeloader and kind of a garbage human being. as well. His kid's an idiot. So they're kind of unlikable characters, but I think this show does a lot better than My Best Friend's Wedding, for example, of still giving them just this little bit of good in them, that you want to cheer for them, that you want to like them, that you continue to like them, and you want them to succeed and do well. At the end of the day, this show set out to do what it was supposed to do, especially with Charlie on. Again, it's not the greatest show in the world. There's some awful things that are joked about and such. The show has not aged well for me, but it's fine. It's good. It's honestly good. In my opinion, it's good. I know, like, my buddy from Chicago, for example, like, we went to trivia one night, and there was a How I Met Your Mother question, and he was like, Cody, I'm so mad that you know the answer to that. And I understand that. I get it. I get why sitcoms are not the thing, why laugh tracks are not the thing for everybody, and I completely get it. I'm someone, though, that loves the show Friends. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. I watch it pretty much every day. It helps me fall asleep at night. That's where I'm coming from. If this is something you like, great. If it's not something you like, well, then obviously don't watch it. So, for me, from season 1 to season 8, with Charlie in it, I'll give this show a 7 out of 10. It's good. Do what? Am I going to watch it like I do Friends? No. But I've watched it, and I enjoyed myself. Now, let's talk about after Charlie left. Because after Charlie left, Ashton Kutcher came in, and my computer's not working. And the show got absolutely horrible. What the heck did I just do to my iPad? There we go. Show got absolutely horrible. Ashton's character's kind of brought in the stupidest way possible. It makes no sense. It's dumb. Charlie had his breakdown that we all know about, Tiger Blood winning, blah, blah, blah. And Ashton replaced him. It's really stupid how Ashton just all of a sudden came in. And Alan's character, starting from season 9, just got more and more horrible. Like, he completely quits his job as a chiropractor, basically, and just literally just leeches on to Ashton Kutcher's character. And I don't know why Ashton Kutcher's character sticks with him. Angus T. Jones, who plays Jake, went off the wall, realized the show's bad, basically, and he kind of quit. So then they brought in Charlie's daughter that Charlie knew about the entire time, even though he said how many times in the first 8 seasons that he's definitely never had kids that he knows about. So she's brought in, and then she's taken out, and then who else? There's somebody else that's brought in. I don't even remember. Daughter. Oh, and the son. The son. Then they adopt a son. Alan and Walden, that's the name. Alan and Walden get married to have a child, and then the child's not even in the last 2 episodes. He's not even in the series finale. This child who was so important in season 12, he's not even there. It's so terrible. And they kept trying to replace the half a man, and they never got it because the 2 is not even good. The show got so bad, the humor got so bad, the writing got so lazy and sloppy. Such a terrible ending to the show. I think there was a way to bring in Ashton maybe for season 9 to maybe end the series like that, since season 8 kind of just with Charlie happening, which is unfortunate. With that happening, it sucked, the situation that they were in. And it was such this big show. It was getting such big ratings and blah, 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 blah. So many people were watching it. There's a reason it got 12 seasons. But it should have stopped. They should have realized that this isn't good anymore and should have stopped. And I think there was a way of doing that with Ashton Kutcher's character ending at season 9. Everything after that, season 10, 11, 12, just got terrible. Just awful. Absolutely hated it. And everything Ashton Kutcher character, season 9 to season 12, absolutely terrible. that's the second part of this review, really. The first part is with Charlie. Then we get to Ashton Kutcher, and it's terrible. I hated it. 2 out of 10. That's how bad it is. I did not enjoy Ashton Kutcher's, timeline, I guess. There's 2 timelines of the show for me. There's the good one with Charlie, the bad one with Ashton. Yeah. So yeah, that took, I watched all 12 seasons, guys. It probably took 2 or 3 months for me to watch all those. I was binging. And it was, the reason why I chose that show, I don't know why I chose the show I did. I just chose that show because I remember it as a child, and it was on Peacock, and yeah. What show was I watching before that? I don't even remember. There was a show I was watching before that, and I think I was watching it on Peacock, and then I just kind of stayed on Peacock. I've moved on to a different show, which we'll talk about tomorrow. Different reasons why I chose that show. And I think I'm gonna figure out how to do a poll on YouTube. I want you guys to vote on what show I should be watching next, because I do want to talk about some TV, just because with my job, thank God I'm not a manager anymore, but still as a bartender, Wednesday, for example, I'll work probably 10 a.m. till 9 or 10 p.m. and then come back and do it all the next day. So with that, leaves me not a lot of time to watch a movie. I could start a movie in the morning, end it at night, but that's not the way I like to do it. I like to watch movies all in one if I can. So I try to watch some TV as well. So I'm still watching something. I can still talk about something, just not necessarily the way I'd like to do it, but it is what it is. So that was 2.5 Men, guys. A show that I enjoyed until I did not, I guess. So yeah. Next up, guys, Lilo and Stitch. I went to a family reunion, had to sleep in my car because I don't have a camper, I don't have a tent, but I have a hatchback, the seats roll down, it's a perfect enough bed. It does make it a little harder to fall asleep, though. So my mind was racing after work and stuff, and I decided to watch Lilo and Stitch. It's a movie I hadn't watched in a while. It's a movie I know very well from my childhood. I watched this movie a lot in my childhood, and I remember babysitters coming over, and they were like, Lilo and Stitch again? Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, Lilo and Stitch, woo! And this is a really great movie, guys. This is a movie, when you look back on your childhood and you go, oh, I remember watching that movie, and then you watch it again, and you go, wow, that movie's crappy. Why did I watch that? Why did I like that? This is not one of those movies, guys. I watched this movie a lot as a kid, and still as an adult, I really do enjoy this movie. This is a first of all, beautifully animated film. I don't know what else to say about it. It's so beautifully done. Stitch has such great character design. He definitely looks like a dog almost, kind of. He's a weird alien dog. And you love that. Nani and Lilo and Hawaii. It's just so beautifully animated in this movie. It also just has a beautiful story about family. Lilo's family, her mother and father dying. Her and Nanny's complicated sister relationship that we all probably have experienced if you have siblings, or even friends that are kind of like siblings, can be complicated, but at the end of the day, you do love each other. It's beautiful how it's told in this movie. And I love also that Stitch is kind of like a dog, and that's what Lilo sees him as. Just a dog. She sees past his ugly alienness to just accept him as a dog. And I love that aspect as well. Even though Nani does see him as like this ugly, nasty alien, I do love that aspect. I love the heart and the love and the message of family. Ohana means family. Family means nobody gets left behind. I absolutely love that in this movie. Nani is a terrible guardian, guys. Which... it almost does kind of take me out of the movie at certain parts, because there's certain things, like how their house seems so flippin' messy at times. Anybody who came into that house would immediately take away that child. It's not negative for me, but it's just, wow, as an adult, you realize just how terrible of a guardian Nanny is. But I don't know how old Nanny is in this movie. I want to say she's like in her early 20s. You know, I look at myself in my 19, 20, 21, 22-year-old age. I definitely would not be a good guardian. I don't even think I'd be a good guardian now. I think I'd get away with it. I think if someone came into my house as I was a guardian, I think they would go, you were a suitable guardian. I think there could be better guardians in the world, but you are suitable, and you're not traumatizing this child. I mean, I probably am because I'm crazy, but in a good way, I'd be traumatizing that child. That child would go out into the world and not be an awful human being, just be, you know, a slightly traumatized human being. So yeah, Nani's a terrible guardian, is what I'm getting at. And that just really popped out to me, this viewing of watching the movie. Lilo and Stitch, I apologize. I love Stitch in this movie. I love the relationship between Lilo and Stitch, and I love his growth as a character. He is designed to be just this awful, evil, terrible human being, or creature, abomination, you know? Destroy everything he touches. And through Lilo and her weirdness, and just her love and loyalty, it changes Stitch, and I love his transformation. It's not just sudden, you see everything that he goes through to get him to where he is by the end of the movie, to being a dog, a good and loyal, lovable, amazing character and dog. And I love that. I love just the message in this movie. Again, family, being yourself, being your true self, no matter how weird it is. It's okay. As long as you're not hurting people. Lilo never hurts anyone in this movie necessarily. You know, she does things like trying to get Stitch to be a model citizen, as Cobra Bubbles would say. You know, people are kind of hurt in that sense, but she's not trying to. She's just being herself. And does it sometimes get her into trouble? Yes. But it's because it feels more like people are just scared of her uniqueness than anything else. And that's why it hurts people, because they're scared of something that's not something they are. And I love that message. This movie came out at a time where, you know, I forget how it all go. I can't say it all. LGBTQT, is that? I apologize. When this movie came out, that wasn't acceptable. You know, people were not allowed to get married that were same-sex couples. This movie it's great for those kind of people too. This is a movie that if you're a kid and you are gay and you're watching this movie for the first time, this movie might help you realize that you can be your true self. And it doesn't matter who you love, as long as you're spreading love into the world. That sounds so cheesy, but I do believe that. So yeah, I like that. Cobra Bubbles is an interesting character as well in this movie, and he's one that I kind of already talked about. Very interesting character. There's a lot of interesting characters. I just love every character. Pleakley, Jabba, even what's the guy's name? Nani and David. David. He's a great character. I just love all the characters in this movie, and even evil character like Gantu is still an interesting character, and I love how they make us all care about characters and send such beautiful, emotional, and loving messages throughout this movie. And this movie's only like 70 minutes long. I absolutely love that. So Lilo and Stitch for me, guys, it's nearly a perfect kid movie for me. I'd say some of the things that maybe bug me with this movie is it gets a little too crazy at times. You know, like the fact that you have 3 days to find a job and then you can keep Lilo, that's a little weird. And the fact that Nani's just such a terrible guardian, it takes me out a little bit. It's a kid's movie, so you kind of have to forgive it. But in my adult eyes, it just bugs me a little bit. So I'm going to give this movie 9 out of 10. It's a really enjoyable movie. I don't want to see this in live action. I think they're working on trying to make this a live action movie. Oh, we'll talk about Pinocchio in a little bit. And so yeah. Lilo and Stitch, though, a really great, enjoyable movie. If you're a kid or if you're an adult and you have not seen this movie, for the love of God, watch this movie. It's so great. Next up, guys, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, I am a fairly big Quentin Tarantino fan. I love Reservoir Dogs. I do not love Pulp Fiction. I understand why people like Pulp Fiction. I do not love that movie. Inglourious Basterds is another one. I enjoy it, but I don't love it as much as other people do. Hateful Eight, though. Django Unchained. What else? Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Absolutely love those movies. So I like a lot of Quentin Tarantino's work. I love how stylish he is. I love how much he cares. I love his camera movements. I love all that crap. His set design, everything. I love how much effort he puts into a movie. So he's a director that when a new movie comes out, I get very excited. And I remember in 2019 being very excited for this movie. I love Margot Robbie. I love Brad Pitt. I love Leonardo DiCaprio. So I was very excited for this movie. And I remember going to see this movie, being very excited. And about an hour in, I went, this movie's boring. This movie's nothing. What is going on? Why? What? And I remember going out of this movie, and I had a friend who was also going to go see this movie the next day. And I was about to text her and go, don't see this movie, it's terrible. Or no, she was going to see it that same night, just a different showtime. And I almost told her, don't go do it. And I went, no, she might like this actually. She absolutely loved this movie. I know a lot of people absolutely love this movie. There were people that thought this movie was one of the best movies of 2019. I had this movie more in my most disappointing of 2019. But yeah, there were people that really enjoyed this movie. I don't. So I watched it for a second time around. I watched it with my film group, the film club that I'm with. And I really did go into this movie giving it a chance. I felt the same way I did when I saw it in 2019 in theaters. This movie is long. It is also boring, in my opinion. There are so many shots of Brad Pitt just driving in his car. And it goes on and on and on. And the movie's 3 hours long. We don't need to see that. We just don't. And I remember commenting in my film group about it, like, I hate this. And my buddy from Chicago was like, see, I love it. And I understand why people do like it. Personally, I hate it. I hate how the camera just sits on something for 5 fucking minutes. Move on! We get it! Whew, sorry, I apologize. There's just so much fluff in this movie. Nope, I'm not done. I'm gonna continue ranting. There's so much flippin' fluff in this movie. So many things that just don't even need to be there. Why does Brad Pitt's character kill his wife? Why does that need to be a part of the movie? To make us not like him? To make us think he's mysterious? I already thought he was mysterious. I like him. I don't want to hate him. Why am I hating him? Why do I need to hate him? I hate that. The movie just doesn't need to have so much fluff, and there's so many scenes that don't need to be there. This movie could easily be a 2-hour movie. So it's 2 hours and 45 minutes movie. I would love to edit this movie and make it a 2-hour movie. Maybe it would be just more enjoyable for me. I don't know. I know there was 1 or 2 other people in my film group that felt the same way I did, which was a relief, and why I love film group. Because there's people that will agree with you sometimes, and you realize you're not the only person in the Sorry. You're not the only person in the world that doesn't necessarily love something, or you're not the only person in the world that loves or hates something. Loves, hate, whatever I just said. The point is, that's why I love film group, guys, is because you can realize you're not the only one in the world when it comes to movies. At the end of the day, guys, film is subjective. So you can like it, you can hate it. I don't flipping care. I just like that we're having a conversation about it. That's why I love this. Please, in the comments, if you disagree with me, tell me why you love this movie. I'm telling you why I don't like it. So yeah, there's so many side plots and just unneeded scenes in this movie. So many just little things, just like with the Brad Pitt and his wife thing. It's there for 1 second. They talk about it a couple times, that's it. It just makes no sense to me. There are some truly hilarious scenes, though. I did watch this movie under the influence. I will say that. I watched this movie high. I had an edible, and it made the movie a little bit better. It didn't make it a little bit better. I didn't like this movie. I still give this movie the same grade I gave it when I first watched it. but it made the movie a little better. It made the funny scenes even funnier. The scene where Leo's talking to the little girl, the scene where Brad Pitt is high, absolutely fantastic. The scene where, what was the other scene that was just dying laugh? Oh, the scene where Leo's in his trailer just angry at himself. Absolutely great, absolutely hilarious. Love those scenes. But then it's just in the middle of scenes that don't matter and I just do not care about. I want to care, but I just don't. I love seeing like the behind the scenes of making a TV show or movie in this movie. There's a scene in this movie where Leo's acting in his cowboy movie and he's in the scene. And then the camera zooms out and you see that there's a camera filming the scene. And I love that aspect. I love seeing the behind the scenes of making something. That's really cool. I love that bit. Love some of the humor, like I said. Acting is all great in this movie. Technically, it looks great. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie. I love that they made Hollywood look like old-time Hollywood. That's awesome. Absolutely love that. The set design, the attention to detail. Absolutely love that bit. All that stuff is in a movie filled with so much fluff and things that don't need to be in the movie that I just don't love this movie. I've seen this movie twice now. I will not be watching this movie anytime soon. And I do not want to watch this movie anytime soon. The category for that week's movie week was wardrobe that you would want to wear. Absolutely love the wardrobe in this movie. Brad Pitt's character, Leo's character, Margot's character, all beautiful costume design. So technically, it's a fantastic movie. There are some great humor, great acting. But the movie itself is boring and fluffy and dumb. And I don't enjoy it. I do not enjoy this movie. But again, I can say it's a good movie, really, in a sense. For me, it's like a 4 out of 10. But when I'm talking about technical and all that fun stuff, it's kind of like a 6 out of 10. So I don't know how to really rate this movie. Because in my opinion, it's like a 4 out of 10. I do not want to watch this movie anymore. But I understand how good it actually is as far as technical aspects, which usually if a movie is technically good, I should be bringing it up to at least 5 or 6. So I'm going to stick with a 5 on this one. Because it's a movie that I think is okay. But it's good in its technical senses. That doesn't make a movie great, though. That was a big old rant, and I apologize. Once upon a time in Hollywood, though, guys, I'm going to give it like a 5 out of 10. It's fine. I want to like it more. Next up, guys. Back in, what was it? Probably June? I want to say June. There was a story that, well, no, it was closer. It was probably even sooner than that. Anyways, guys, sometime this year, there was a story that came out that Spider-Man had additional scenes, that they're going to make an extended edition, similar to what they did with Far From Home, where they're going to put it back in theaters with some extended footage. And I went, yes, please. I'm so excited to see Spider-Man No Way Home with some extended footage. And I was very excited. Spider-Man Far From Home, I think is a good Spider-Man movie. It's fine. I've rewatched it quite a few times. I don't love that movie, though. It's not my favorite. There's a lot of things I don't love about that movie. I don't know if I've talked about it. I feel like I have. Maybe I haven't. I don't know. Anyways, guys, I didn't enjoy Far From Home. And when the extended edition came out, I went, yeah, that's fine. It doesn't make the movie that much better, but sure. Yeah, it's okay. That's kind of how I felt with this as well. Spider-Man No Way Home, the more fun edition, as they called it. It's still a great movie. But, you know how I was talking about fluff last thing? There's some fluff added with these extra scenes. Towards the beginning, there's some additional scenes that are added that are very silly, but they give someone like Aunt May, for example, more background. We get more background on Aunt May and why she believes the things she does, why she does what she does. And that was nice. And there's some other little sillier bits that kind of like recap the last 2 movies, and it wasn't really needed. And then there's a couple little tiny things towards the beginning that just flush a few more things out that are fine. Again, they're fine. Again, they don't need to be in the movie, but they're fine. And then the biggest one, and the dumbest one, and the one I hated, it's towards the middle of the movie, and it's, what's her name? Amy Brandt's character. the gal that Ned dates in Far From Home for 3 seconds during the vacation, and then they split up. She does a podcast for her school, and she's just interviewing people and doing all this investigative crap, and it's dumb. There's also a scene where Peter Parker is being forced basically to climb the wall in gym class, and it's just like, why are you doing it? You don't have to do it just because they tell you to do it. I didn't like this entire bit towards the middle with Betty Brant. Betty Brant, that's it. Hated that entire bit, actually. It just was unneeded and made the movie, but I was ready, just like, stop. I don't want to see this anymore. It's just bad. So I did not enjoy that bit. Then there's a few bits towards the end. The scene where they're at Statue of Liberty and the 3 Spider-Mans are just talking. There's a lot more improvisation going on. These bits I actually really enjoyed, because you can tell they're just hanging out. They're just having a conversation. They're enjoying each other's company, and I like that aspect. That's great. Just see more of the Spider-Mans together. It's great. And there's a couple things that are said that I wish were in the movie, particularly one moment where Andrew Garfield does something with holes, where he wants to see some holes. Absolutely fantastic. But at the end of the day, guys, this more fun edition, was it more fun? I mean, I guess it's fun to see deleted scenes put into a movie, but it's not needed. It wasn't necessary. End credit scenes. There's a last end credit scene that I actually enjoyed too as well. Betty Brant goes on a podcast again talking about the end of the school year, and we see that Peter has kind of been like erased from everything, so no one knows who Peter Parker is anymore. That wasn't good. That was good too. So between the bits with the Spider-Man and that end credit scene, there's also the extended bit with Matt Murdock and Happy, and that one's fine too. It's a little too silly, but it's fine. But yeah, between the Spider-Man bits and that end credit scene, those are the only bits I really cared about. That's maybe an extra 3 minutes of the movie. Everything else is just very unnecessary in my opinion. I just didn't care to see them. I prefer just to watch the regular cut of this movie, honestly. But I do like... Oh, I farted. I apologize. I'm not editing it out. Guys, it's natural to fart and burp, okay? Sometimes you gotta do it. And you know what? No one else here. You're the only ones here. And I'm the only one talking to you. You can't smell this, so I'm just gonna fart, Like a man fucking fart. Ted. Doing Ted, Yeah, okay. Anyways, guys, so the more fun edition of Spider-Man wasn't more fun for me, not necessarily. I'm still glad I went and saw it, though. I'm glad I went and saw this in theaters. Because Spider-Man No Way Home, and I really enjoyed this movie. And this movie is still a 9 out of 10 for me. It's such a good movie. When Tobey and Andrew Garfield appear on screen, it's so great. And to see the 3 Spider-Men together, they did such a good job with this. Bringing in the old villains. It's a really enjoyable movie, guys. Does the more fun edition make it better? No. Not really. Arguably, I would say it makes it worse, like an 8 out of 10, because there's such a long moment. That one seems so long. So honestly, the more fun edition is an 8 out of 10 for me instead of a 9 out of 10, but it's still a really great movie, guys. And if you haven't seen Spider-Man No Way Home yet, go see it in theaters. Keep in mind that there is some extra fluffy stuff that doesn't need to be in the movie. Lastly, guys, let's talk about Pinocchio. This movie was... one of the big things is going to be on Disney Plus for Disney Plus Day, and everyone should have been super excited about it, except no one really was, because we've seen all these live-action movies that Disney has done, redoing their classic animated films, and all have been pretty much not good. This one might be the worst of them all. Oh my god, does this movie suck! I thought I was done ranting for the night. I am not. I forgot we have to talk about flippin' Pinocchio, guys. Where to begin on this? So this is directed by Robert Zemeckis. It reteams him and Tom Hanks for like the 4th or 5th time. Yeah, this is another almost shot-for-shot Disney movie, except they take out things that they consider bad. So the original Pinocchio, he drinks beer and smokes cigars at the naughty fun land, whatever the hell it's called, and when he's turned into a donkey... they take that out. He's drinking root beers, and he's not smoking anything because that's bad. But it's Badland. So he's naughty because he drank too much root beer? It's rotting his teeth. What? This movie just edits out. It's funny. This movie's PG. The original one is rated G. This one should be rated G. That one should be rated PG. It's just insane what they've been doing with these live action things. The fact that this is almost shot for shot, except for the bad things, and then they put in some other stuff that's just stupid. I just can't stand it. They take out really great songs and then add in some new songs. Tom Hanks is not a singer. He does not want to be caught singing on film. So he basically talks his songs, which is stupid. Why? I don't know. I really don't. This movie is so bad. It is so incredibly bad. I don't know what's going on with Robert Zemeckis the last couple decades here. The last good movie he did was what? Flight? The last bit of The Walk is great. The last half hour, everything else in that movie is absolutely terrible. We should talk about The Walk someday. I've only seen the movie one time and I should rewatch it, but his movies have sucked. He's not a good director anymore. I want to get excited when I hear he's coming out with another movie because Forrest Gump is in my top 10 best movies of all time. I also love Castaway. But the movies he's been doing lately are absolutely terrible. I don't know what he's trying to do anymore. I don't know what he's trying to say or do. It's absolutely terrible. There is just so much dumb stuff. The clocks. You see the clocks there. There are Disney references in those clocks, like a Roger Rabbit one, which Robert Zemeckis directed, didn't he? I think he did. It blows my mind. This is the man did Back to the Future, too, didn't he? I believe so. What the hell? What has happened to this guy? The clocks, they have the movie references. This is like the 1800s. There is no such thing as TV. Why is there Roger Rabbit? This movie blows my mind. So many dumb things like that. And then there's added characters to this movie. They take the whale at the end. It's not a whale. It's a whale creature. It's a monster. What? Why? Why can't it just be a whale? Pinocchio, he's a superhero at the end. He can paddle his feet so fast that he's a motorboat. What? This is not Swiss Army Man. That's not what you set up. Oh my God. Tom Hanks is probably the best part of this movie. He's in it for 10 minutes. He's Geppetto. He's in it for the first 5, and he's in the last 5, and it's stupid. They also give him this backstory that he had a wife and child, and they died tragically. So that's why he makes Pinocchio, because he's a sad, lonely man? What? Why can't we just make him a guy who always wanted a son, and he never got one? I don't get it. And then Pinocchio is a weird CGI. He looks just like he did in the cartoon. So it's a cartoon and a live action. He looks terrible around characters that are looking more live action-y. Jiminy Cricket has such terrible design in this. CGI is terrible in this movie, except for a few certain parts that are okay. This movie just looks weird. It is weird. Also, the ending of this movie. I'm going to spoil this movie because you shouldn't watch this movie. And I just can't believe the things I'm saying. The Blue Fairy is only in this movie for 3 seconds. She's literally there, Cynthia Erivo, turns him into a puppet, and then leaves, never comes back. That happens in this movie. In this movie, it shows lying is a good thing. It can get you out of trouble. What? And it's only done one time. You realize his nose grows in one scene, and that's it. It's never, brought up again. And then at the end of this movie, the biggest thing that blew my mind is the ending is Jiminy Cricket going, well, folks, after they escaped the creature, because that's what it is, it's not a whale, they went on to live happily ever after. Some of them say he turned into a real boy. Some of them say he stayed a puppet. But that's for you to decide. What? The entire thing at the end of the original Pinocchio is that he turned into a real boy because he was honest and true, and he realized good from bad. There's no message in this movie. What is the message of this movie? There's no message. And it's just absolutely terrible. The humor in this movie sucks. The special effects in this movie suck for the most part. Everything about this movie was just not good. I I have not much to say. Tom Hanks is Tom Hanks. He's doing a decent performance. He maybe worked for a day, a couple days probably, rehearsing. He was probably only filming for like a day. He's not in this movie much. So if that's your selling point, I don't know. I just don't know. Guys, just watch the original Pinocchio. Just watch the original Pinocchio. It's so much better. Even like the horror aspect of people changing into donkeys. It's not really addressed in this movie. It's kind of shown, but it's not there. It's not scary. It's just, wow, that kid turned into a donkey. Cool. This entire movie screams cool about things that we shouldn't be saying cool about. I don't know. Robert Zemeckis, what are you doing? And Disney, why are we putting this... I am such a believer in movie theaters. Why are we putting this straight Disney Plus? It blows my mind, especially with Top Gun. Top Gun came out this year. It just, when it is available to buy on digital, it didn't go straight to Paramount Plus like they wanted to. But Tom Cruise said, screw that. This is a movie that needs to be in theaters. Keep it in theaters. Look at the box office on freaking Top Gun Maverick. It is one of the highest grossing films of all time now. Because we didn't put it straight to freaking digital properties. You could have put Pinocchio in theaters. Would it have bombed? Probably. But then you can put it to Disney Plus, and it would have made a little bit more money than it is doing now, because this is just garbage. I hate this movie so much with a passion. It is getting a 1 out of 10 for me. I would love to give this movie a 0 out of 0, but I'm going to give it a little bit for some Tom Hanks and a couple other minor performances. Oh, this movie is just bad, guys. Do not see this movie. Please do not see this movie. It's so flippin' bad, guys. In the words of Tom Hanks, that's all I got to say about that. Wow. I'm tired. I don't know about you guys. So guys, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things I'd like to talk about. 9, actually. I'll probably watch a movie tonight, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. But I probably have a few more things I want to talk about. I will do another episode of this tomorrow, because we are already on, how long? Over an hour, probably, at this point. Hour and 2 minutes this episode is. I'm going to cut it off here. We're going to talk about a few more movies. This video will be coming up on Tuesday. You'll see this probably. I'm hoping to have a video up by Wednesday with the second half of this. So hopefully we'll have 2 videos this week. Maybe even 3. I don't know. We'll see what happens. But for sure 2 this week. I filmed this today. We're going to film another bit tomorrow. And yeah. So yeah, guys, that's where we're going to end this episode. We will have another episode, though, because I've missed and I've been slacking lately. More things to come, hopefully. But yeah, guys, that was my video. So basically, this was the last movie I watched for my vacation. That was on September 8th. September 9th, I think, is when I left. So yeah, that was all those movies. Basically, the beginning of September and the end of August were the movies. These were the movies I watched. So we'll be talking more about movies for the rest of this month that I've seen tomorrow when you watch it. Tomorrow when I film it. Anyways, guys, that's been the next episode of Code Man Movies. I hope you guys have enjoyed. I've seen people have been liking the video. Thank you so much for doing that. If you want to comment, please do. Let me know what you want me to talk about. Let me know what you don't want me to talk about. I'm happy to adjust. I'm happy to fix things. And at the end of the day, guys, I want this just to be talking about movies. That's why I do this, because I love talking about movies. I love going on rants about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood and Pinocchio. Why not? It's fun. Please, give me your rants in the comments. I would love to see it. Let's have a conversation. Let's do it. Yeah, let's just talk about movies, guys. And it doesn't have to be a negative thing. Let's make it a positive. Let's just talk and have a conversation. That's why I do this. But anyways, guys, I hope you have a great night, great day. I'm filming this at night, on a Monday night. Monday night. It's going to be Tuesday, by the time you see this stuff. I'm getting my days confused now. Anyways, guys, I hope you have a good one. We will see you very soon, actually. Hopefully by, tomorrow or Wednesday, whatever day. Anyways, guys, have a good day. We'll see ya.